All right, listen to me for a second. Hey, yeah, you. To the one who felt something was off long before anyone said it out loud. To the one who kept going even when the room went quiet. To the one who's standing here right now, heart pounding, realizing, oh, this is that moment. Good. I'm talking to you. Everyone tried to warn you. Some of them yelled. Some of them whispered. Some of them hid it behind jokes, passive comments, little side eyes, just saying conversations that never fully said what they meant. And you heard it. Don't lie to yourself. You heard it. But you kept moving anyway. You had to. Because stopping would have meant admitting that everything you were building was shaking underneath you. And now, now it's already over. Not ending. Not about to. Over. Nothing can be undone. And that realization, that's the part that makes people fold. That's the part where most people break down, spiral, start bargaining with the universe like it keeps receipts. They replay moments. They screen record their own memories. If only I'd said this. If only I'd left earlier. If only I didn't trust that person. If only I listened. But let me tell you something they never warn you about. There's a specific kind of power that only shows up after it's too late. See, before this moment, you were guessing. Before this moment, you were carrying hope like a burden. Hope people would change. Hope the situation would stabilize. Hope the truth would magically soften itself if you looked at it long enough. But now, hope's gone, and that scares people until they realize what replaces it. Clarity. Cold, sharp, unforgiving clarity. Because when nothing can be undone, there's nothing left to pretend about. No more negotiating with red flags. No more, maybe it'll work itself out. No more audience manipulation where you perform strength just to survive another week. Now you see. You see who stayed silent when it mattered. You see who benefited from your confusion. You see how many people were comfortable warning you instead of standing with you. You see how often you were expected to carry the emotional weight for everyone else just so they wouldn't feel uncomfortable. And yeah, that hurts. But don't confuse pain with weakness. This kind of pain rewires people. Because once you accept that it's already over, you stop trying to save the past. You stop spending your energy rewriting scenes that are locked. You stop explaining yourself to people who already made peace with misunderstanding you. And that's when something dangerous happens. You get intentional. You stop asking, how do I fix this? And you start asking, what does this make me? You realize you're not standing in the wreckage. You're standing in evidence. Evidence of what you survived. Evidence of what you outgrew. Evidence that you can walk through total loss and still be standing upright, still breathing, still thinking 2 steps ahead. People don't like that version of you. They liked you hopeful. They liked you doubting. They liked you when you still waited for permission to move on. But this version doesn't wait. This version doesn't argue, doesn't over-explain, doesn't post emotional status updates begging to be understood. This version watches. This version calculates. This version moves differently. Because when the warning phase is over, you stop looking backward for approval. You stop needing closure from people who benefited from keeping you open-ended. You stop confusing familiarity with safety. You understand something most never do. The end wasn't punishment. It was exposure. It exposed the structure, the alliances, the illusions, the way you were being framed as too much for reacting to things that were objectively wrong. The way your intuition was always right, just inconvenient. And now the noise changes. People sense the shift. They feel it. They don't know how to name it. but they feel that you're not available in the same way anymore. You're calmer, quieter, more precise, and that scares them more than your anger ever did, because anger is loud. Anger can be dismissed, but focus terrifies people. You're no longer begging to be warned. You're no longer waiting to be saved from the impact. You've already absorbed it. And if you're still standing after this, if you can look your reality in the face without romanticizing the damage, then understand this. You're not late. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're activated. And everything from here on out is deliberate. Because once that switch flips inside you, there's no going back to the earlier version that tolerated confusion just to keep the peace. That version already faded the moment you stopped flinching at the truth. You can feel it, can't you? That weird calm under the noise, that steady heartbeat when chaos tries to get a reaction out of you like it used to. People expect a breakdown. They expect tears, rage posts, explanations, closure speeches, something digestible, and you don't give it to them. Your silence hits heavier than any argument ever did. Look at you. Still standing, still functioning, still waking up, still handling business, still showing up in rooms you once thought you'd never survive emotionally. That alone messes with people's heads, because when nothing can be undone, you stop performing emotional gymnastics for anyone else's comfort. You stop shrinking your instincts just to sound reasonable. You stop playing the role of the more understanding person while getting quietly cut at the knees. You remember every time your gut screamed and you talked yourself out of it. Every single moment you knew something wasn't right, but said, "Nah, maybe I'm overthinking." You weren't. You were early, and early always looks crazy until it's proven right. And that realization does something twisted and beautiful at the same time. It hardens your boundaries without hardening your heart. It sharpens your focus without turning you cold. It teaches you how to observe without absorbing other people's mess. You're not trying to be liked anymore. You're trying to be accurate. Every conversation feels different because you hear the gaps between words. You catch the hesitation. You catch the energy shift when you stop over-explaining. People reveal way more when you're not chasing clarity from them. And deep down, they know it. They feel that they lost access to the version of you that needed reassurance. They feel that you're no longer waiting for the warning sign, no longer asking for permission to trust yourself. There's power in that. Not loud power, not flashy power. The calm before impact kind. The kind that walks into a room and changes the temperature without raising its voice. You start moving in silence, not out of fear, not out of spite, but because your energy finally understands its own worth. You don't broadcast plans. You don't debate your healing. You don't explain absences. And every step forward feels heavier and clearer at the same time. Heavier because you know what endings cost. Clearer because illusions don't survive impact. You stop mistaking chaos for excitement. You stop mistaking inconsistency for passion. You stop mistaking struggle for destiny. And people might call it cold. They might call it detached. They might say you changed. They're right. Because the version of you that needed warnings died quietly the moment reality stopped negotiating. And what's left isn't bitter. What's left is awake. Awake in a way that doesn't announce itself. Awake like somebody who's been burned once and absorbed the heat instead of flinching away from it. Awake enough to notice patterns before they repeat. Awake enough to stop calling chaos bad luck and start seeing it for what it really was the whole time. You walk differently through conversations. You pause longer before responding. You don't rush to fill silence anymore because silence tells you everything you need to know if you let it breathe for a second. People start exposing themselves without realizing they're doing it, and you're just standing there nodding, clocking it, not reacting the way they rehearsed for. That's new for you. There was a time when you would have jumped in, defended yourself, clarified intentions, tried to smooth things over like it was your responsibility to keep the emotional temperature comfortable. That version of you burned out quietly. No announcement, no dramatic exit. It just stopped showing up. And look, this isn't you becoming heartless. This is you finally charging people the real price of access. Attention isn't free anymore. Energy isn't unlimited. Trust isn't handed out just because someone sounds confident or familiar. You start choosing where you sit, where you speak, where you invest your focus like it actually costs something. Because it does. Every misplaced ounce of it drains you faster than hard work ever could. People feel the difference. They try to pull you back into old rhythms. They joke, they reminisce. They bring up the good times as bait, hoping nostalgia will soften you enough to reopen doors you already closed in your mind. You smile, maybe even laugh, but inside there's a quiet no that doesn't need to be spoken out loud. Because you remember how it ended. You remember the moment everything snapped into place. The moment the warning bells stopped ringing and truth went dead silent. That silence taught you more than all the advice in the world ever did. You stopped needing reassurance once you proved to yourself that you could carry the outcome. And that changes the way fear interacts with you. Fear doesn't control you the same. It tries, but you've already lived through the version you were most afraid of and survived it without applause. That's the part nobody sees. They think strength looks loud. They think confidence posts selfies and captions and speeches. They don't see this kind of strength because it's internal, because it's quiet, because it doesn't need witnesses. You don't chase validation when you realize peace feels better than being right in front of the wrong people. You don't argue your worth when you understand that misunderstanding was never the issue. You were clear, they just didn't want to hear it. And there's something almost dangerous about how calm you are with that truth. You stop overthinking texts. You stop rereading conversations. You stop building imaginary futures with people who couldn't even be consistent in the present. You start trusting your timing. You start trusting your reactions. You start trusting that pull in your chest that tightens whenever something's off. You don't gaslight yourself out of it anymore. This version of you doesn't rush healing like it's a deadline. It doesn't numb itself with distractions just to avoid sitting with uncomfortable clarity. It just observes, integrates, adapts. Every move has weight. Every decision feels intentional, not rushed, not forced. Intentional in that grounded way that comes from knowing exactly what it costs to be wrong about people. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure conversations that turn into emotional wrestling matches. You already saw the pattern from start to finish. And the wild part, the more you accept that nothing can be undone, the less it owns you. It becomes a reference point instead of a wound, a reminder of how sharp you are when you stop ignoring yourself. And that reminder sticks with you when you step into situations that used to shrink you. When your shoulders would tense up and your mind would start racing through worst-case scenarios. like a browser with too many tabs open. That doesn't happen the same way anymore. Something in you stays grounded, not numb, grounded. You notice how certain people talk around things instead of about them, how accountability suddenly sounds like an attack when it's aimed at the right place, how confidence without substance collapses the moment it's questioned. You catch all of it. You just don't react the way you used to. There was a time you mistook restraint for weakness. You thought if you weren't responding, you were losing. If you weren't explaining, you were being erased. Turns out silence isn't absence. It's discernment. It's you choosing not to waste ammunition on battles that don't shape you. You carry yourself like someone who's already faced the worst version of the story. Deadlines don't rattle you the same. Threats don't hit as hard. People trying to intimidate you with what might happen don't realize you already lived through what actually did. And yeah, there's humor in it, dark humor. The kind that pulls at the corner of your mouth when someone tries the same old manipulation tactics, like you didn't graduate from that school already. They think they're being subtle. They think you're still guessing. But you're not angry enough anymore to be careless. That's the shift. Your emotions stopped driving the wheel. They sit in the passenger seat, alert, aware, no longer grabbing for control. You don't overshare victories. You don't announce resilience. You let outcomes speak because outcomes are loud without saying a word. And in quieter moments when it's just you and your thoughts, you don't fantasize about rewriting the ending. You don't romanticize alternate timelines. You understand that wishing doesn't change structure, and structure is what actually matters. You move with structure now. Boundaries that don't wobble. Standards that don't explain themselves. Self-trust that doesn't require external confirmation. People sense something's different when they look at you a second longer than usual. They hesitate before crossing lines they used to sprint over. They test your limits less because they feel the clarity standing behind your eyes. You don't need to say you're done tolerating nonsense. Your energy already stopped responding to it. And there's this steady rhythm building underneath everything you do. This internal cadence that wasn't there before. Like you finally synced with your own timing instead of adjusting to everyone else's chaos. And that rhythm keeps pulling you forward. Through rooms, through conversations, through decisions, without asking for permission, without waiting for validation, carrying the weight of what couldn't be undone like armor instead of a scar, moving through the world with that quiet intensity that makes people uneasy because they can't tell whether you're about to walk away or step straight through whatever's in front of you. And that uncertainty follows you. Lingers in the air, keeps unfolding. Because people can sense when someone has crossed that invisible line where fear stopped making decisions for them. And they don't know how to act around that kind of presence. They start second-guessing their tone. They start over-explaining jokes that aren't funny. They start asking questions they don't really want answers to, just to hear themselves talk. You see it all happening in real time. The hesitation, the recalibration, the way energy shifts when someone realizes you're not chasing approval or bracing for disappointment anymore. There was a phase when you used to mentally prepare excuses before even speaking, pre-apologize, soften statements, buffer the truth with humor just to keep the peace. That pattern dissolved quietly the moment you understood peace isn't something you negotiate for. It's something you maintain. Your attention spans got shorter for nonsense and longer for substance. You listen differently. You hear intention instead of words. You notice when someone compliments you while trying to put you in a smaller box at the same time. And there's this strange confidence in not rushing to respond, in letting a message sit unread while you live your life, in not panicking when silence stretches longer than expected. Urgency stopped controlling you. That's big. When urgency goes away, manipulation loses its leverage. You don't let deadlines set by other people's anxiety dictate your decisions. You don't mistake pressure for importance anymore. You started respecting yourself enough to pause, enough to think, enough to choose rather than react. People who thrived on your immediate response feel that absence. They prod, they poke, they act confused like you changed overnight, even though the change was gradual, layered, earned. They don't see the late nights where you sat with uncomfortable truths instead of distracting yourself. They don't see how many internal arguments you lost and then finally won. They just notice you're harder to shake. Your emotions matured. They didn't disappear. They matured. Anger stopped spilling everywhere and started sharpening your focus. Sadness stopped dragging you down and started informing your boundaries. You became selective with vulnerability, not closed, selective. There's a difference. You don't confuse accessibility with authenticity anymore. You don't equate loud truth with real truth. You understand some things lose power the moment they're explained to the wrong audience. That's why you carry yourself the way you do. Why your presence feels heavier even when you're not saying much. Why people feel like they're being evaluated without you ever asking questions. Because you already answered the biggest one inside yourself. Whether you could live with the outcome when nothing could be undone. And that answer changed the way everything else lands, the way choices line up, the way risks feel less like threats and more like sharp calculations, the way every step keeps unfolding into the next without needing a finish line, without needing validation, without waiting for permission, just moving, adjusting, sharpening, breathing, staying alert while the world keeps trying to test what it can still pull from you. And finding nothing it can take without your consent. And that realization settles into your body like muscle memory. The kind that kicks in without thinking. The kind that keeps your spine straight when old triggers try to pull you back into reactions that aren't yours anymore. You don't brace the same way. You don't flinch at familiar pressure points. Those buttons still exist, sure, but they stopped working. People underestimate how much strength it takes to stay composed when chaos expects access. They think calm means unaware. They think quiet means empty. They don't understand this level of restraint comes from having already seen what happens when things fall apart. There's a certain edge to you that didn't come from confidence boosters or motivational quotes. It came from consequence. From watching illusions collapse in real time while pretending everything was fine. From carrying weight without a guarantee it would pay off. You don't romanticize struggle anymore. You respect it. You learned where it sharpens you and where it drains you dry. That's why your choices feel colder to people who benefited from your warmth. Conversations change shape around you. You keep things brief, focused, direct. People who rely on emotional fog start stumbling because clarity leaves no room to hide. You trust your read on people fast these days, not rushed fast. There's a difference. Experience compresses time. Once you've lived through patterns repeating, you don't need the full cycle again to recognize the direction it's heading. You don't argue with red flags. You log them. You don't try to convince anyone of what they just showed you. You accept the display. All right. Listen up. Yeah, you. The one who didn't mean to shake the room, but somehow did anyway. The one everybody suddenly got opinions about. Glad you showed up. You don't even fully remember the moment, do you? It didn't feel heroic. It didn't feel cinematic. It felt messy. It felt impulsive. It felt like one of those seconds where your brain says, don't, and your backbone says, watch me. And that's the thing nobody wants to admit. Power never announces itself politely. Power shows up when you cross a line you were trained to fear. You didn't wake up planning to take control. You woke up tired. Tired of being reasonable, tired of swallowing comments, tired of being the calm one while everybody else got loud, messy, entitled, tired of playing the role they handed you like it was permanent. And somewhere between one last look and one last breath, you stepped over something invisible, and the whole atmosphere shifted. See, people love rules until someone breaks them and survives. That's when it gets quiet. That's when the laughter cuts off mid-sentence. That's when the room recalibrates around you. Because now, you're not predictable anymore. Now you're not manageable. Now you're not safe in the way they prefer. You crossed a line and didn't get crushed. Didn't apologize. Didn't fold. And that does something to people. It scares the hell out of them. You felt it, right? That weird pause afterward. That moment where nobody knew how to talk to you like they used to. Where respect slid in sideways wearing fear's jacket. That's when you walked out running this shit. Not because you yelled the loudest, not because you threatened anyone, but because you proved, without preaching, that you are not stuck where they left you. You see, dominance doesn't always look like aggression. Sometimes it looks like silence after action. Sometimes it's just standing there like, yeah, I did that, and I'd do it again, and now. Now everybody's replaying that moment in their head, what you said, what you didn't say, how calm you looked afterward, how unbothered you were. They're wondering where else that version of you exists. Because people don't fear chaos. They fear permission. They fear realizing they were obeying rules that only applied because nobody questioned them. And you questioned one. You stepped over it. You came back with dirt on your shoes and control in your hands. Here's the part nobody's brave enough to say to your face. You didn't become arrogant. You became undeniable. You stopped asking for alignment and started setting the temperature. You didn't seek authority. You exposed it as fragile. And yeah, they'll try to reframe the story. They'll say you're different now. They'll call it reckless. They'll say you changed. No, you activated. You reached that point where being liked mattered less than being real. Where comfort lost to clarity, where the mask got heavy and the cost of wearing it finally exceeded the consequences of taking it off. And once that happens, there is no uncrossing that line. Because now you've seen it, the way power shifts when you stop negotiating your presence, the way people adjust when they realize you're not waiting for approval anymore. You're not loud, but you're felt. You're not chasing, but you're setting pace. You're not begging, but somehow decisions orbit you now. That's what happens when you walk back into places that once minimized you, carrying proof that you don't need them to validate your position. They can sense it in your pauses now, in your eye contact, in the way you don't rush to explain yourself. Because you crossed a line, and instead of falling, you leveled up, and whether they like it or not, whether they admit it or not, The moment you did that, the hierarchy rewrote itself around you, and they know it. Because the truth nobody says out loud is that once you've tipped the balance, everything that used to feel solid starts feeling fake. Conversations get weird. Smiles linger half a second too long. People start choosing their words around you like they're stepping on thin ice, and you feel it in your chest, this calm that didn't exist before. Not excitement, not rage, just clarity. The kind that shows up after you've already made peace with being misunderstood. You're not scrambling anymore. You're not explaining context. You're not cleaning up emotions that were never yours to manage in the first place. Because when you crossed that line, you proved something deeper than confidence. You proved independence from permission, and that messes with everybody's mental map. Think back. You used to rehearse answers in your head before speaking. Used to cushion your truth to keep the temperature comfortable. Used to soften your edges so nobody felt challenged. That version of you doesn't survive moments like that. The move you made didn't just change optics. It recalibrated identity. You stopped performing and started occupying space like it was already yours. And people notice when you're no longer trying to be understood. They notice when you're not fishing for reactions. They notice when your silence carries more weight than their noise. You didn't become careless. You became deliberate. You didn't become cold. You became precise. Power is quiet when it's real. It doesn't posture. It doesn't argue. It lets confusion do the heavy lifting while you stand grounded in exactly what you chose. And the wild part? Some people secretly feel relieved. Because your move validated thoughts they were too scared to act on. You became proof that survival exists on the other side of risk. Others, though, they're unsettled because your existence threatens the structure they were hiding behind. When one person steps outside the script, it exposes how fragile the script always was. You can't unsee that. You can't unknow it. That's why walking back feels different. Same place, same faces, completely different energy. You're not walking into rooms anymore. You're walking through them, and it's not ego driving this. It's alignment. When choices finally match what your nervous system has been screaming for years. You move slower now, but you land harder. You speak less, but every word sticks. You don't react. You respond when it matters. And somewhere in all of that, leadership stops being a title and starts being a gravity. People adjust without being told. Dynamics shift without discussion. The center of decision quietly relocates toward you. You didn't steal control. You didn't campaign for it. You earned it the second you refused to retreat. That line you crossed didn't disappear behind you. It burned itself into memory, into reputation, into the way your name lands in conversations you're not even in. You're no longer an option people scroll past. You're a factor. That's why even the people who used to overlook you start double-checking their tone. They're careful with jokes around you now. Careful with assumptions. Careful with that casual disrespect they used to throw around like it was harmless. Because something about you feels non-negotiable. You didn't announce a transformation. You didn't post a quote about growth. You didn't need a rebrand. The shift showed up in your posture, in how you pause before answering, in how you don't fill silence just to keep things smooth anymore. You stopped managing other people's comfort. And that's a heavy thing for the world to process, because most people are addicted to being palatable. Most people are trained to trade truth for acceptance, edge for approval, instinct for validation. You broke that bargain. Remember how you used to replay moments at night, wondering if you should have said more or less? That loop went quiet, not because you figured everything out, but because you stopped outsourcing your self-respect. That's when momentum changed. You don't rush anymore. You don't chase outcomes. You move like time will rearrange itself around you. And somehow it does. Meetings stretch. Conversations bend. People wait for your reaction before committing to theirs. It's subtle, but it's loud at the same time. You're not the loudest voice in the room, yet decisions start circling back to you. You're not demanding attention, yet eyes keep finding you when things get tense. That's what happens when you're no longer afraid of the cost. When you already paid it. The fear that used to control you lost leverage the moment you walked through it and realized you're still breathing, still standing, still you, just sharper. And here's the part that hits different. You're not angry about it. That's what confuses them most. There's no bitterness driving you, no chaos spilling out. It's this calm, grounded certainty that says you're done debating your worth. You're not trying to dominate anything. You're just not shrinking anymore. Power doesn't always flip tables. Sometimes it just stops being moved. Sometimes it's the refusal to flinch, the ability to remain steady while other people scramble for footing. You feel it when tension rises and your body doesn't react the old way. No tight chest, no frantic explanations, just presence, just awareness, just choice. And when you choose, it's clean. People feel safer or more threatened depending on where they stand with themselves. Because your energy forces a mirror. No mask survives long around someone who's already taken theirs off. You didn't become fearless. You became honest about what matters. That honesty travels fast. Through glances, through silence, through the way your phone doesn't light up as much. But when it does, it's for things that actually matter. You're not everywhere anymore. You're central. You walked over a line and discovered something they'll never be able to take back from you. The internal permission to operate on your own terms, to trust your instincts even when the room doesn't nod along, to stand in decisions without narrating them, to hold your ground without raising your voice, to let your presence speak before your mouth ever does. And that presence keeps expanding, whether you acknowledge it or not. It's in the way rooms feel smaller when you step into them, not because you're towering over anyone, but because the uncertainty has shifted. People don't know which version of reality you're willing to tolerate anymore. You're not unpredictable. You're unaligned with expectations, and that's dangerous in the best way. You notice how people test the edges with you. Little comments, side remarks, half jokes meant to see if the old version shows up. The one that laughed it off, the one that adjusted, the one that carried the weight quietly. That version doesn't answer anymore. It's not drama. It's discipline, emotional discipline. The kind that comes from finally trusting your own signal over the noise. Every decision feels cleaner, almost boring, because it's rooted instead of reactive. You stopped proving points. You started embodying standards. And standards change behavior faster than arguments ever could. People calibrate themselves around you because they can feel that you're not desperate to be understood. You're not chasing agreement. You're not bargaining your instincts for peace. There's nothing to grab onto anymore. That's when authority sneaks in, quietly, invisibly, like gravity. Nobody announces it, but everyone obeys it. You feel it when conversations turn toward you for confirmation, when pauses stretch just long enough for your response to become the anchor, when someone checks your face before committing to a stance. That's influence, without effort. You didn't gain it by force. You gained it by refusing to abandon yourself. Look at how your body reacts these days. You're not bracing like before. Shoulders relaxed, breathing slower. The nervous system finally figured out that you don't need permission to exist fully. That calm unsettles people who live off control dynamics. Because calm means you're not hooked. Calm means you're not manipulable. Calm means you can walk away without flinching. Walking away becomes one of the loudest statements you make. You notice fewer words land on you. Fewer opinions stick. Criticism feels distant, almost theoretical, because it no longer defines the frame you operate in. This doesn't make you better than anyone. It makes you clearer, and clarity has weight. It changes how choices line up. It changes what feels negotiable. You're more selective with your energy, more protective of your attention, less interested in chaos disguised as urgency. And that restraint translates as strength. People underestimate the kind of power that doesn't rush, that doesn't over-explain, that doesn't need to be seen doing the most. You carry it in stillness. Even conflict hits different now. You don't escalate. You don't retreat. You stand there grounded, letting discomfort cook, letting truth breathe, letting others reveal themselves without interruption. That patience feels ruthless to people who rely on emotional pressure. You crossed a line and discovered you don't owe anyone access to your internal world. You choose when to engage, when to speak, when to move. That choice is everything, and it keeps unfolding in how you listen more than you talk, in how your yes means something again, in how your no lands like a final answer without needing justification, in how your presence continues shaping outcomes long after you leave the room, in how control stopped feeling like something to chase and turned into something that simply surrounds you while you keep moving forward without performing, without explaining, without shrinking, without checking the temperature before you stand exactly where you stand. Because once that switch flips inside you, it doesn't flip back. You can feel it even on regular days. Grocery store, street traffic, random conversations. You're calmer, but there's this quiet alertness underneath, like you finally trust yourself to handle whatever pops up without rehearsing it first. You don't scan the room for threats anymore. You scan for relevance. And that changes posture, changes breath, changes how long you're willing to entertain nonsense before disengaging. You're not rude, you're selective. Big difference. People can feel it and they don't always know why. You catch people trying to read you more closely than before, trying to decode what sets you off, what moves you, what gets access. And the wild part is you're not hiding anything. You're just not broadcasting. That restraint feels loud. You've noticed your reactions slowed down, not frozen, measured, like you're standing half a step behind your emotions instead of inside them. That space gives you leverage. In that gap, you choose instead of explode. You decide instead of defend. Power lives right there. There was a time when tension would hijack your chest, make your thoughts scatter, make you explain things nobody asked for. That reflex faded, not from pretending to be fearless, but from learning that not everything deserves a response. Silence stopped feeling awkward and started feeling intentional. You use it like a tool. Meetings end earlier. Arguments dissolve halfway through. People backtrack mid-sentence when they realize the old hooks don't land anymore. You're watching it happen from the inside, almost amused, almost curious. None of this came from confidence quotes or motivational binge watching. It came from pressure, from having your back against something solid, from realizing the worst thing already happened and you're still standing. That realization rewires behavior. You don't need to warn people when you're serious. They sense it in the way you maintain eye contact without flexing, in how your voice doesn't rise to compete, in how your body stays relaxed even when the stakes climb. That calm reads as authority. Control isn't about domination, it's about orientation. Everyone around you starts orienting differently. Conversations adjust, energy shifts. Even resistance feels quieter, more cautious, like people are measuring the cost before pushing. You're not unpredictable, you're decisive. And decisiveness feels threatening to anyone who survives by keeping things vague. You've also noticed fewer people have access to your time. The circle tightened naturally. No announcements, no drama, just priority aligning itself. The conversations that remain feel heavier, more intentional, more real. You laugh less at things you don't find funny, smile less to smooth edges. You let moments sit as they are, unpolished. That honesty hums underneath everything you do, and it keeps doing something strange to your environment. Opportunities approach differently. Problems reveal themselves faster. You see dynamics before they fully form and sidestep them without ceremony. You're not rushing growth, you're inhabiting it. Even rest feels different, deeper, cleaner. Like your body finally believes you won't abandon yourself to keep the peace. That trust inside you shifts the entire baseline of how you move through the world. You crossed a line once and found out where your spine actually is. You found out you can live from there, speak from there, decide from there. And everything that follows keeps stacking quietly, moment by moment, interaction by interaction, breath by breath, as you keep standing exactly where you are without shrinking, without signaling, without reverting, aware of how far things have moved and how effortlessly they continue moving with you, still right in the center of it all. While the room keeps adjusting around you, and the energy keeps responding, and the sense of control keeps deepening, not as something you hold tightly, but as something that stays with you while you walk and breathe and speak and pause and notice how different everything feels when you're no longer asking for space and no longer bracing for permission and no longer preparing to retreat, as the momentum keeps rolling forward without needing a break to explain itself, until even your own memories feel like they belong to someone you outgrew. You think back to situations that used to shake you, and it's wild how distant they feel. Same events, same facts, completely different internal reaction, like your nervous system finally upgraded its software. You don't flinch at tension anymore. You read it, you feel where it's coming from, and you decide how close it gets. That kind of control isn't flashy, it's almost invisible, which is why it freaks people out. They can't track you by patterns anymore. You don't rise on bait. You don't fall into familiar traps. You don't rush to defend your position like it's fragile. Fragile people do that. You're not fragile. There's this quiet confidence that settled into your bones, not the performative kind, not the chest-out bravado, but the grounded kind that comes from knowing you already survived the part that was supposed to break you. You notice how you walk past arguments forming and they never fully ignite. How certain dynamics don't even attempt to attach themselves to you anymore. It's like friction avoids you because it doesn't get traction. That's when you realize control doesn't come from tightening your grip. It comes from not being gripped by anything else. You hear it in how people talk around you. They check facts twice. They soften edges. They They pause before saying things they would have thrown at you casually before. Not because you demanded respect, because consequences feel clearer in your presence. Hey you. Yeah, you right there, tuning in. Listen closely for a second, because what I'm about to tell you hits different when you've lived through the mess you've lived through. You're standing in a moment where everyone's confused, right? Where nobody can figure out your actions, and people keep whispering like you just glitched reality, like you tapped into something you weren't supposed to. What did you just unlock? That's what they keep asking, isn't it? And you know what's funny? They're not confused because you did something wrong. They're confused because you stopped doing what they expected. People don't lose their minds when you fail. They lose it when you change. They lose it when the version of you they're comfortable bullying suddenly grows teeth. When the one they underestimated starts speaking up. When the quiet one stops playing nice, stops shrinking, stops apologizing for existing. That's when the panic hits. That's when they start saying stuff like, "What's going on with you?" Because they're not used to you walking like you actually know your worth. They're not used to you choosing yourself without asking permission. They're not used to you acting like someone who survived everything designed to break you. See, you didn't just unlock a new skill. You unlocked you. The you buried to keep the peace. The you dimmed because someone else couldn't handle your light. The you kept on silent mode because you didn't want to upset anybody. But people get real confused when the version of you they took for granted suddenly stops playing along with their little scripts. They can't figure out your actions because your actions aren't coming from fear anymore. They're coming from clarity, from pain you turned into fuel, from hours nobody saw, from nights you spent questioning everything, from waking up tired but refusing to quit, from wounds that didn't heal pretty but healed strong. And let me tell you something real. When you start unlocking deeper versions of yourself, you become unpredictable to everyone who only understood the surface level you. You become unreadable to people who only knew your weakness, not your resilience. You become unexplainable to those who never imagined you'd get this far. You ever notice how people get nervous when someone changes too fast? Like they start acting like detectives, trying to figure out your real intentions, your new behavior, your strange confidence. As if confidence is suspicious, as if growth is a crime, as if healing is something you should apologize for. It's wild, because, when you were struggling, they understood you perfectly. When you were lost, they got it. When you were doubting yourself, they had no questions. But now that you're walking like you finally get it, like you finally know who you are and what you bring to the table. Now they're confused. Now they're uncomfortable. Now they're whispering. Because you unlocked something they can't measure. Self-direction, self-respect, self-authority, self-belief. That's the part that scares them. Not your actions, not your choices, but the fact that you made them on your own. People panic when they realize you no longer need their approval. They panic when you stop asking them whether your next move is allowed. They panic when you stop softening yourself to fit their expectations. You've probably noticed it. The way they look at you like you're not supposed to be this calm, this composed, this focused. Like you're not supposed to walk into rooms with that quiet power that says, "I know exactly what I'm doing." But, the truth is, you didn't just unlock something. You remembered something. You remembered who you were before life tried to condition you into silence. Before the criticism, before the comparisons, before the doubt people projected onto you. Before they made you believe you needed to shrink to survive. You remembered that your story didn't end where they hoped. That you weren't designed to stay small. That you're allowed to grow even if it makes others uncomfortable. That your evolution isn't up for debate. And that's why they're confused. Because you grew in directions they didn't predict. You became someone they didn't prepare for. You stepped out of the character they assigned you. Your actions don't make sense to them because your actions aren't coming from the old you anymore. They're coming from the version they never bothered to imagine. And, it hits them harder because you did all this quietly. You leveled up without announcements. You healed without witnesses. You built without applause. You opened doors nobody knew existed. You unlocked levels they don't even know how to access. No wonder they're confused. No wonder they're whispering. No wonder they're trying to figure you out like you're some kind of plot twist. But the truth is, you're not a mystery. You're not acting strange. You're not unpredictable. You're just finally acting like yourself. And that, alone, is enough to make the whole world wonder what you're about to do next. And, the crazy part is, you can literally feel the shift in the air, right? Like people look at you differently now, not because you changed your face or your clothes, but because the energy you carry hits like someone who finally stopped being scared of their own potential. There's something in the way you move, the way you talk, the way you don't explain yourself anymore, that makes them second-guess everything they thought they knew about you. You ever notice how folks get loud when they think they've got you figured out, but the moment you evolve past their little mental file they kept you in, everything turns quiet. Like suddenly, nobody wants to look you in the eyes because they can't tell what's behind yours anymore. It's almost funny, because nothing is more intimidating to people than someone who finally understands their own worth without needing external confirmation. You're walking around with this internal clarity they can't decode. You're making decisions from a place they've never visited. You're trusting instincts they've never sharpened. You're moving in a rhythm they can't dance to, and it messes with them deeply. People don't freak out because you're unpredictable. They freak out because you're unapologetically authentic. You're not performing. You're not shrinking. You're not censoring yourself to protect other people's comfort levels. And, that's rare. People aren't used to rare. They're used to watching you second-guess everything. They're used to the version of you that hesitates, that asks permission, that waits for approval before making a move. But that version is disappearing, and the new energy you're carrying doesn't ask anyone to validate it. There's something almost dangerous about a person who wakes up to their own power without needing a motivational quote to remind them. A person who just knows where they're going, knows what they deserve, knows what they're done tolerating. And, it shakes people because they were comfortable when you didn't know those things. You becoming self-aware feels like a betrayal to the people who benefited from your confusion. It feels like rebellion to the ones who loved you better when you didn't love yourself enough. It feels like a plot twist to the ones who thought they had your whole story read, cover to cover. But they only knew the chapter you were trapped in. They never saw the one you were secretly writing. They never saw the nights you spent wrestling with yourself, questioning your reality, unlearning your limits. They never saw the moments you wanted to give up, but kept going anyway. They never saw the growth happening behind the scenes. All they see is the result. That's why they keep asking, what did you unlock? Like you found some cheat code. But the cheat code was always you. Your grit, your patience, your inner war nobody else knew you were fighting. Your decision to step out of the shadows of who you used to be. And the irony is, the more you grow, the less you feel the need to explain that growth. You stop giving out brochures about your healing. You stop defending your choices to people who aren't living your life. You stop trying to make everyone comfortable with your evolution, because deep down, you know this version of you wasn't built for the crowd. It was built for the journey you're still on. And while everyone else is confused, while they're scrambling to decode your silence, while they're trying to understand how you suddenly became the version of yourself they can't keep up with, you're out here stepping into rooms with a calmness that says, trust me, I know exactly what I'm doing, even on the days you're still figuring it out. And that presence you carry, that quiet confidence, that steady growth, it's the kind of thing people don't realize is happening until your life looks nothing like it used to, and you look nothing like the person they thought you'd remain. And the only thing they can say is that same confused whisper they've been repeating to each other, wondering what you tapped into, trying to understand how you moved from surviving to rising, trying to catch a glimpse of the blueprint you've been building from within. And what they don't realize is that half the things you're doing right now aren't even about proving anything to anyone. You're just finally acting from a place that feels real to you. You're not trying to shock anybody. You're not trying to make some dramatic entrance. You're just choosing yourself in ways you never had the courage to before. And that alone feels like a plot twist to people who only ever met your hesitant version. It's wild how your silence, the same silence they used to overlook, has suddenly become the thing they fear the most. The way you stay calm, even when the room is buzzing with opinions about you, it unsettles them, because it means their noise doesn't control you anymore. It means their narratives don't shape your steps. It means their doubts don't echo inside your mind the way they used to. You can almost see it in their faces, this mix of curiosity and discomfort, because you're moving like someone who has access to information they never received. But the truth is, the only information you gained was awareness. Awareness of what drains you, what builds you, what hurts you, what strengthens you. Awareness of who's real, who's fake, who's temporary, who's solid. Awareness of what you're done tolerating and what you're ready to step into. And, you carrying that awareness so naturally makes them feel like you're holding some secret map to life. Like you've decoded a system they're still struggling to understand. They look at you and think you found some hidden path, when all you really did was stop walking in circles. You ever notice how people get uncomfortable when you stop explaining yourself to them? Because explanations gave them access. Explanations made them feel important. Explanations made them feel included in your world. But once you started making moves without giving a play-by-play, they suddenly felt shut out, like they lost their backstage pass to your life. And it's not even personal. It's just that you finally realized you don't owe them a tour guide. They don't get to know every thought, every plan, every shift. They don't get to vote on your healing or your direction. They don't get to proofread your transformation. That's the part that throws them off, because they were comfortable when your life was an open book. But they don't know how to respond when it becomes a locked journal. And your growth didn't ask them whether it was convenient. It didn't pause to make sure they'd feel okay about it. It didn't check if they were ready to handle the version of you that doesn't need saving, fixing, or validating. It just happened. It happened the moment you got tired of shrinking. It happened the moment you got tired of doubting yourself. It happened the moment you got tired of carrying everyone else's expectations on your shoulders. And, that kind of shift, where you finally take responsibility for your own life, where you finally start choosing yourself without guilt. That's the kind of shift that makes other people feel like they've been left behind, like they missed a chapter, like they woke up in a story they were no longer controlling. They keep asking, what did you unlock? Because they can't comprehend that you didn't unlock some external power. You unlocked the internal one they hoped you'd never discover. The one that makes you unshakable. The one that makes you unpredictable. The one that makes you uninterested in the drama and noise they used to hook you with. And, you can feel that power settling in you. Not as arrogance, not as some loud flex, but as this grounded, steady presence that says, I know who I am, even when none of you do. And that presence becomes the very thing they can't figure out, the very thing they whisper about, the very thing they watch from a distance, trying to understand how you went from being someone they underestimated to being someone they have to reevaluate entirely. It's kinda funny how you can literally watch their expressions shift when you walk into a room now. It's like they're double-checking who you are, like they're trying to match this version of you with the old picture they still have in their heads, and nothing lines up anymore. They don't recognize the way you stand, the way you speak, the way you don't fold under pressure. They don't recognize that you're not operating from fear or insecurity or that old habit of overthinking every tiny move. You can actually feel it, this invisible distance forming, not because you pushed anyone away, but because you stopped shrinking yourself to pull anyone closer. And, people get really uncomfortable when you stop bending into shapes that make them feel taller. They don't know how to act when you stop prioritizing their comfort over your clarity, their opinions over your direction, their expectations over your peace. And the craziest part is, you're not even trying to intimidate anyone. You're not walking around with some I'm better than you vibe. You're just aligned with who you're becoming instead of who you used to be. Aligned with your standards, your boundaries, your capacity, your truth. And alignment feels like rebellion to people who only ever knew your chaos. You can hear it in the way they talk about you, too. The speculation, the confusion, the little theories like you're some unsolved mystery. Because, when someone evolves faster than people expected, the instinctive reaction is suspicion. Not admiration, suspicion. They start wondering who's influencing you, who's behind your growth, who's pulling the strings. They can't wrap their heads around the idea that you might be the one steering your own life for the first time in forever. They can't understand that clarity is a result of pain you processed, not a person whispering in your ear. And the thing is, you earned this version of yourself quietly. You didn't post your healing. You didn't ask the world for applause. You didn't broadcast every step. You didn't make speeches about how much you've changed. You just did the work. And doing the work in private creates a presence in public that people can't decode. You ever realize how uncomfortable people get when you stop being predictable? Predictability made them feel safe. It made you easy to manage, easy to read, easy to dismiss, easy to underestimate. But unpredictability, real unpredictability, hits different. Not the chaotic kind where you don't know who you are, but the grounded kind where you know exactly who you are and they don't. That's the kind that makes people whisper. That's the kind that makes them squint at you like they're trying to read your soul. That's the kind that makes them say, "What did you unlock?" with that half fear, half awe tone. And the truth is, you didn't unlock something foreign. You unlocked something familiar, something ancient inside you that had been buried under doubt and noise and expectations and trauma. You unlocked that part of you that remembers your strength, remembers your intuition, remembers your worth, remembers the version of you that existed before life, people, and disappointment tried to convince you that you were small. And the moment that version wakes up, even just a little, everything around you shifts. People start seeing you not as who you were, but as a threat to who they believed you'd stay. And that shift makes them analyze every move you make like it's a clue, like you're about to drop some revelation they need to prepare for, like your next step might rewrite the whole story they told themselves about you. And you can tell it really gets to them when your energy stops matching the old patterns they depended on. Like suddenly you're not reacting the way you used to. You're not chasing the things you once chased. You're not breaking down over the situations that used to paralyze you. You're not available in the ways they remember, emotionally or mentally, and that unfamiliar version of you makes them uneasy in a way they don't know how to admit. It's like they're trying to figure out who rewired you, not realizing you were the one doing the rewiring quietly, piece by piece in the middle of nights where nobody saw you falling apart and standing back up. People underestimate the kind of transformation that comes from nights like that. They think growth is loud, explosive, dramatic. They don't understand that real change usually happens in silence, in private battles, in quiet decisions you make when no one is clapping for you. And that's why they're confused, because your growth didn't come with announcements. It came with determination. It came with discipline. It came with heartbreak that didn't destroy you, but reshaped you. It came with choosing yourself after years of thinking that was selfish. It came with outgrowing environments you never thought you'd escape. It came with choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, boundaries over burnout. You can almost feel that internal shift in your body, like your spirit is sitting up straighter, like your mind is breathing deeper, like your soul finally stopped apologizing for wanting more. And that kind of shift reflects in everything you do, even in the smallest details. Your voice, your posture, your decisions, your silence. And people study that silence like it's a riddle. They try to decode the way you move. They try to predict your next step. They try to guess what's motivating you. They try to attach their own narratives to your actions because it's easier for them to gossip than to accept that you simply evolved. You're moving differently, and it unsettles everyone still stuck in the version of you that didn't know how to move forward. They didn't expect you to heal this much. They didn't expect you to detach this easily. They didn't expect you to glow up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in ways that don't require their validation. And here's the part they'll never admit. Your transformation exposes their stagnation. Your clarity highlights their confusion. Your growth reveals their comfort zone. Your direction reminds them they've been standing still. It's not that they can't understand what you unlocked. It's that what you unlocked forces them to confront what they haven't unlocked yet. And that discomfort turns you into a mystery they can't solve. You. Yeah, you. Come here for a sec. I just wanted to say, look at you. Seriously, look at you. Still breathing, still thinking, still walking around after everything they tried to do to your name. That's kinda wild, don't you think? You tilt your head, and there's this little smirk tugging at the corner of your mouth because deep down, you already know where this is going. See, I've been watching you for a while. Watching you deal with people who swore you were soft, harmless, easy to push around. People who treated your whole life like some cheap little joke. People who kept poking, laughing, whispering, scrolling past you like you were background noise. People who thought messing with you was just routine. Something they could do on their break. Something they could forget by lunch. But here's the funny part. The moment you actually stood up, the moment you stretched your spine 1 inch higher, their whole damn signal cut out. Static, glitches, panic in their eyes like, wait, that's not supposed to happen. Because you weren't supposed to rise, right? You weren't supposed to talk back. You weren't supposed to get confident or smart or disciplined. You weren't supposed to confront the very people who fed off your silence. But you did, and oh, that broke something in them. They had this image of you, this toy version they carried around in their head, this puppet who never fought back, this ghost who never took up space, this quiet little thing who stayed in the corner nodding, apologizing, shrinking. But then you stood. You stood like someone who finally remembered their damn worth. And that moment, that single shift, it knocked out their whole broadcast. You ever seen someone lose control of a situation so fast that their whole face turns into one big buffering wheel? That's what happened. 1 second they were the main character in your story, bossing you around, laughing, pointing, and the next second you stepped forward like, hi, I'm done with that. Their voices shook, their hands trembled, their confidence evaporated like sweat on asphalt. Because the minute you stopped being the joke, they became the ones exposed. They couldn't hide behind the noise anymore. They couldn't pretend you were weak. They couldn't pretend you didn't notice. They couldn't pretend they weren't obsessed with controlling you. They wanted you small. They needed you small. Your silence kept their whole little power grid running. And the instant you unplugged from their games, their circuit blew. Here's the thing nobody tells you. People who mock you, people who underestimate you, people who play with your heart, your name, your time, they don't actually think you're weak. Nah, that's the mask. They're scared you might wake up one day and actually see yourself. Because once you do, once you see who you really are, they can't handle you anymore. You ever notice how loud the room gets? Right when you start healing, right when you start moving different, right when you stop responding to nonsense. Suddenly everybody's voice rises because their control is dying. And the crazy part? The whole time they were laughing at you, they never expected you to survive what they put you through. But you did. Every rumor, every betrayal, every time they lied on your name, every moment they made you feel small, every time they celebrated your pain behind your back, you survived. And now you walk around with this energy, this quiet, loaded, dangerous calm that makes the same people who mocked you start checking over their shoulders. You know why? Because your glow is starting to expose their shadows. Your strength is exposing their intentions. Your growth is highlighting their immaturity. Your clarity is threatening their confusion. And your presence, your simple, unapologetic presence, is scrambling whatever signal they once used to feel superior to you. They tried to program you, tried to turn you into predictable code, tried to train you to shrink whenever they raised their voice, tried to keep you stuck in emotional poverty because they knew if you ever chose yourself, if you ever stood tall, if you ever became aware of your own power, they were done. You rising wasn't just inconvenient for them, it was catastrophic. People who built their ego on top of your silence can't function when you start talking. People who built their confidence on your insecurities freeze when they see you healing. People who felt powerful playing with you start malfunctioning the second you stop entertaining their games. Oh, and let's not pretend. They noticed the shift. They noticed the tone change. They noticed the way you stopped laughing at their dry jokes. They noticed the way your yeah became sharper, shorter, almost surgical. They noticed the way you began walking with a certain, electricity? Like every step you take now has purpose. Like you're not wandering anymore. Like you actually know who you are. And that scares them. It scares them because they can't predict you now. It scares them because they can't manipulate you now. It scares them because you stopped offering explanations. It scares them because your energy is colder, clearer, wiser. It scares them because you carry yourself like someone who's done being played with. You're not the punchline anymore. You're the plot twist. You're not the background noise. You're the static that shuts the whole system down. You're not the easy target they once fed on. You're the shockwave that exposes the hunters. You rose. You stood. You disrupted the entire power dynamic. And the moment you did, their signal, the one they used to control you, mock you, humiliate you, belittle you, went silent. You know what people do when the lights go out. They panic, they scramble, they bump into the truth they were trying to avoid. That's what happened when you finally stood tall. Your existence became the outage that forced everyone to see who they really were in the dark, and it keeps shifting everything around you. Because once that darkness hit, you could practically feel the temperature in the room change. People who used to laugh with their whole chest suddenly got real quiet, real fast. People who thought you were just decoration started watching you like you were holding the blueprint to their downfall. It's hilarious, honestly. The same mouths that tossed your name around like scrap paper suddenly didn't know how to speak. Like their vocabulary just evaporated. And you're standing there, breathing steady, not even trying to flex, not even trying to prove anything, just existing with this new frequency in your chest. This calm, heavy, grounded energy that whispers, yeah, try me again. And every time you exhale, something in them glitches because they can't plug into you anymore. They can't use your insecurities as a charging port. They can't run their ego off your self-doubt. They can't treat you like emotional furniture. Just something in the room they bump into without thinking. You became untouchable in the most human way possible. Not icy, not arrogant, just aware. Aware of who you are, aware of what you survived, aware of how badly they miscalculated you. And that awareness, it hits harder than any revenge could. People don't malfunction because you get loud. People malfunction because you get clear. When you stop explaining your pain to people who caused it. When you stop negotiating your boundaries with people who violated them. when you stop giving your loyalty to people who never earned your vulnerability, when you stop letting your heart be a playground for anyone bored enough to step on it. That clarity disrupts their whole identity. They can't figure out who they are without you playing the role they assigned you. You weren't supposed to be strong. You weren't supposed to be bold. You weren't supposed to be this version of yourself. The version who looks in the mirror and doesn't flinch anymore. And the wild part is, you didn't even announce the shift. You didn't post some new chapter speech or make some dramatic exit. You just started choosing yourself in tiny, subtle ways. A shorter text, a colder tone, a quieter reaction, a delayed reply, a raised eyebrow, a casual, yeah, I'm not doing that. Small things, small adjustments, but those little shifts, they hit them like earthquakes. Because people who rely on your silence notice the sound of your confidence even when you whisper. And that's exactly when their signal cut out. Not when you screamed, not when you snapped, not when you fought back in some dramatic explosion. It was when you finally detached from the storyline they wrote for you. When you stopped performing the version of you that made them comfortable. When you stepped into the version of you that made you proud. And suddenly they're staring at you like, who the hell is this? And you're thinking, the person I was always supposed to be. They kept trying to reboot the old you. The passive one, the forgiving one, the shrinking one. The one that let things slide. The one that smiled through disrespect. The one they could drain without consequence. But the old software doesn't run anymore. You updated in silence. You rebuilt yourself in private. You upgraded your self-worth while they were busy underestimating you. And every time they try to engage with the old version of you, their whole emotional Wi-Fi crashes, buffering, frozen, error screen, signal lost, because they're finally realizing something that terrifies them. You outgrew the cage they designed around your potential. You're not playing character anymore. You're not waiting for validation. You're not handing out second chances like discount coupons. You're not filling emotional voids that aren't yours to fix. You're here, present, aware, and dangerous in a quiet, steady way. The kind of dangerous that comes from healing instead of hurting. The kind of dangerous that comes from choosing yourself without apology. The kind of dangerous that comes from recognizing exactly who mistook your kindness for weakness and exactly who's trembling now that you stopped letting them. And the best part, you don't even need to say anything. Your energy is doing the talking for you. Your presence is doing the heavy lifting. Your silence is doing the exposing. Your growth is doing the haunting. And it keeps shifting everything around you. Because every step you take from this point on hits different. Like you're walking with this quiet thunder under your skin. And the people who used to laugh at you, they feel it. They feel it in their chest, in their throat, in that little shaky breath they take whenever you enter a room. It's wild how fast the energy flips when you stop being the one who absorbs everything. You ever notice that? The moment you stopped carrying everyone's emotional garbage, the moment you stopped cleaning up messes that weren't yours, the moment you stopped trying to prove your worth to people who weren't even worth your time, that's when something in them short-circuited. Because, they depended on that old version of you. They depended on the version who'd apologize for things that weren't your fault. They depended on the version who'd smile through disrespect. They depended on the version who'd stay small just to make them feel bigger. They depended on you pretending you didn't notice the shade, the jokes, the manipulation. And when you finally stopped pretending, their entire personality lost the Wi-Fi connection it ran on. You ever watch someone's confidence evaporate in real time? It's like you can see their ego buffering. They try to replay the old script, talk to you the old way, treat you the old way, manipulate you the old way. But nothing loads, because you're not subscribing to their nonsense anymore. You're not giving them the access you used to give for free. You're not handing out emotional discounts anymore. You're not letting people walk in and rearrange your piece like it's some training ground for their issues. You became someone they can't predict, and unpredictable you. That's the version that terrifies them, because your silence used to mean surrender. Now it means calculation. Your distance used to mean confusion. Now it means clarity. Your okay used to mean you'd tolerate it. Now it means you're done entertaining it. And the funniest thing, they don't know what to do with the version of you who finally respects yourself. It's like watching someone try to control a machine they never built, never understood, never cared to maintain. They pushed buttons they thought would still work. They used tones they thought would still intimidate you. They tested boundaries they thought would still bend. Nothing responded. Because once you healed the parts of you they fed on, you became unreachable in all the spaces where they used to drain you. And that's the moment their signal died. That's the moment they realized they can't play with you anymore. They can't access the innocence they abused. They can't access the fear they exploited. They can't access the confusion they twisted into control. You're operating on a whole different frequency. A frequency built from scars that turned into strategy, from heartbreak that turned into awareness, from betrayal that turned into boundaries, from silence that turned into strength. And what makes this shift even more wild is that you didn't become cold. You didn't become bitter. You didn't become cruel. You became awake. Wide awake. Awake to the games. Awake to the patterns. Awake to the people who only show up when it benefits them. Awake to who you really are beneath all the noise, the mockery, the manipulation. And when someone finally wakes up, when someone finally learns how to see clearly, feel clearly, choose clearly, they stop moving the way fools expect. You move different now. Your posture is different. Your eyes are different. Your reactions are different. Your boundaries are different. Even your carries weight now. Like you're evaluating whether someone deserves your energy or not. And every time you choose yourself, every time you walk away from chaos, every time you stay calm in situations that used to break you, you create another outage in the lives of the people who thought you'd remain controllable forever. Their signal cut out the moment you stood up. But it stays out every time you decide you're not going back to being the character they wrote for you. And this shift keeps deepening in ways they never planned for. Because the longer you stay in this upgraded version of yourself, the more you start to notice the shift in the atmosphere around you. People don't approach you the same anymore. They don't talk to you with that fake confidence anymore. They don't test you with the same recycled nonsense anymore. You can literally feel the hesitation in their steps. You can feel that tiny pause before they speak, that little tremor in their tone, that awkward smile they weren't rehearsing before. It's like they're meeting you for the first time, even though you've been standing in front of them your whole life. And that's what awakening really looks like. Not some dramatic speech, not some loud announcement. It's this subtle, powerful shift in your energy that makes everyone else suddenly check their posture. Because, you stopped moving like someone waiting for permission. You move like someone who creates it. There's this undeniable presence about you now. like you've become your own foundation, like you learned how to carry yourself without shaking, like you finally realized you don't have to audition for rooms you were born to reshape. And it rattles people who only knew the older, softer, quieter version of you. They depended on that version. They memorized that version. They curated entire strategies around that version. But they never prepared for this one. This version of you who doesn't flinch when someone raises their voice. This version of you who doesn't shrink when someone throws shade. This version of you who doesn't hand your power over just because someone demands it. This version of you who listens with a straight face as someone tries to manipulate you using tactics you've already decoded. It's unsettling for them. It's liberating for you. Because, the truth is, they never thought you'd outgrow the version they were comfortable stepping on. They never thought you'd see through the games they perfected. They never thought you'd start questioning the patterns you were trained to tolerate. They never thought you'd learn to walk with your own spine instead of leaning on someone else's validation. And the moment you did, their whole identity wobbled, their certainty cracked, their mask slipped, their confidence flickered, like watching someone try to hold onto a rope they thought was pulling you down, only to realize you're not attached to it anymore. And they're the ones dangling. You didn't retaliate. You didn't scream. You didn't expose them. You didn't create chaos. You just stopped cooperating with their version of you. And that quiet refusal, that subtle, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore energy, that's what broke them. That's what made their signal cut out. That's what fried their whole emotional circuitry. Because they relied on you staying predictable, staying soft, staying confused, staying compliant, staying wounded. But you're not moving like that anymore. You're moving with choice, with clarity, with restraint, with purpose, with this almost unnerving calm that says, I finally know what I bring to the table and I'm done eating crumbs. And the thing that messes them up the most is that you didn't rise because of them. You rose in spite of them. Your power didn't come from proving anything to anyone. It came from understanding yourself deeply, from sitting with your wounds instead of hiding them, from building a backbone out of every moment you felt discarded. You didn't get stronger for applause. You got stronger because you had no other choice but to evolve when they kept underestimating you. And, that evolution didn't just change how you see them. It changed how you see yourself. You started recognizing the way your presence affects the room. You started noticing how people speak differently when they know they can't push you. You started seeing the fear behind the fake confidence of those who once mocked you. You started seeing the truth behind the way they suddenly avoid eye contact. Their signal didn't just cut out. Their whole operating system is trying to update itself to handle this new, powerful, self-aware version of you.